1. Access control. Methods used to determine who can access or use specific resources within a system or network. 2. Authentication. The process of verifying a user's or device's identity before granting access to systems or data. 3. Authorization. The process of determining what actions an authenticated user is permitted to take within a system. 4. Encryption. The process of converting readable data into unreadable code to protect it from unauthorized access. 5. Multi-factor authentication. FA. A security process that requires more than one method of verification, such as a password and a one-time code, before granting access. 6. Hashing. A process that converts data into a fixed-length string of characters, used to verify that data has not been tampered with. 7. Symmetric encryption. An encryption method that uses the same key to both encrypt and decrypt data. 8. Asymmetric encryption. An encryption method that uses two mathematically related keys, one public and one private, to secure communication. 9. Public Key Infrastructure (PKI). A system for managing digital keys and certificates used to verify identities and secure communications on the Internet. Digital certificates. Electronic documents that bind a public key to an identity, verifying that a website, person, or device is legitimate. 11. Non-repudiation. A security principle ensuring that someone cannot deny having performed a specific action, such as sending a message or signing a document. 12. Integrity. The assurance that data remains accurate and unaltered during transmission or storage. 13. Confidentiality. The principle of ensuring that sensitive information is accessible only to those who are authorized to view it. 14. Availability. The principle of ensuring that systems, services, and data are accessible to authorized users whenever they are needed. 15. Risk management. The process of identifying, assessing, and prioritizing risks to reduce their potential impact on an organization. 16. Business Impact Analysis, BIA. An assessment that identifies the effects of disruptions to business operations and determines how quickly functions must be restored. 17. Business Continuity Plan, BCP, a documented strategy designed to keep critical business operations running during and after a major disruption or disaster. 18. Disaster Recovery Plan, DRP, a detailed plan for restoring IT systems, data, and infrastructure after a cyber attack, natural disaster, or major failure. 19. Incident Response, the structured process of identifying, containing, eradicating, and recovering from a security breach or cyber attack. 20. Penetration Testing, a simulated cyber attack conducted by security professionals to identify and exploit vulnerabilities before real attackers can. 21. Vulnerability Assessment, a systematic scan of systems and applications to identify, classify, and prioritize security weaknesses. 22. Social engineering, the use of psychological manipulation to trick people into revealing sensitive information or taking actions that compromise security. 23. Phishing, a fraudulent attack using deceptive emails or messages to trick users into revealing passwords, credentials, or other sensitive data. Spear phishing, a highly targeted phishing attack directed at a specific individual or organization, often using personalized information to appear credible. 25. Whaling. A form of spear phishing that specifically targets high-profile executives or decision-makers to steal sensitive information or authorize fraudulent transactions. 26. Ransomware. Malware that encrypts a victim's files and demands payment, typically in cryptocurrency, in exchange for the decryption key. 27. Malware. Malicious software designed to damage, disrupt, or gain unauthorized access to a system or its data. 28. Spyware. Software that secretly monitors a user's activity and collects personal information without their knowledge or consent. 29. Trojan horse. Malware that disguises itself as legitimate software to trick users into installing it, then carries out malicious actions in the background. 30. Worm. A self-replicating type of malware that spreads across networks without requiring user interaction or a host file. 31. Denial of service, DOS. An attack from a single source that floods a system with traffic, making it unavailable to legitimate users. 32. Distributed denial of service, DDoS. A large-scale version of a DOS attack that uses a network of compromised devices to overwhelm a target simultaneously. 33. Botnet. A network of compromised computers controlled remotely by an attacker, often used to launch large-scale attacks or distribute spam. 34. Command and control, C2. The method attackers use to remotely communicate with and issue instructions to compromised systems within a botnet. 35. Keylogger. Malware that silently records every keystroke a user makes to capture passwords, credentials, and other sensitive input. 36. Man-in-the-middle attack, MITM. An attack where an adversary secretly intercepts and potentially alters communication between two parties to steal or manipulate data. 37. Session hijacking. An attack where a threat actor takes control of a legitimate user's active session by stealing their session token or ID. 38. Cross-site scripting, XSS. A vulnerability that allows attackers to inject malicious scripts into web pages viewed by other users, often used to steal session data. 39. SQL injection. An attack that inserts malicious SQL code into a database query to manipulate, extract, or delete data from a back-end database. 40. DNS spoofing. An attack that corrupts DNS records to silently redirect users from a legitimate website to a malicious one without their knowledge. 41. Brute force attack. An attack method that systematically tries every possible password or key combination until the correct one is found. 42. Dictionary attack. A password attack that uses a pre-compiled list of common words, phrases, and known passwords to guess credentials. 43. Zero-day vulnerability. A security flaw that is unknown to the software vendor and has no available patch, leaving systems exposed to exploitation. 44. Patch management. The process of identifying, testing, and applying software updates to fix security vulnerabilities and keep systems protected. 45. Two-factor authentication, 2FA, a security process requiring two separate forms of verification, such as a password and a one-time code before granting access. 46. Virtual Private Network, VPN, a technology that creates an encrypted tunnel over the internet to protect data and enable secure remote access. 47. Sandboxing. Running potentially malicious programs in an isolated, controlled environment to observe their behavior without risking the production system. 48. Honeypot. A decoy system or resource set up to attract attackers and gather intelligence about their methods and techniques. 49. Heuristic analysis. A method used by security tools to detect new or unknown malware by analyzing behavioral patterns rather than known signatures. 50. File integrity monitoring. A security control that detects unauthorized changes to files, often used to identify signs of compromise or malware activity. 51. Insider threat. A security risk originating from within an organization, including employees, contractors, or partners who misuse their access. 52. Least privilege. The principle of granting users only the minimum level of access necessary to perform their job, reducing the risk of misuse or compromise. 53. Role-based access control, RBA. A method of restricting system access where permissions are assigned based on a user's defined role within the organization. 54. Token. A physical device or software-generated credential used as part of an authentication process to prove a user's identity. 55. Non-persistent threat. A type of threat that is temporary and does not survive a system reboot, often residing only in memory during an active session. 56. Persistent threat. A threat that maintains its presence on a system across reboots and over extended periods, often designed to remain hidden and active. 57. Password cracking. The process of recovering or guessing passwords using techniques such as brute force, dictionary attacks, or rainbow table lookups. 58. Salting. Adding a random value to a password before hashing it, making identical passwords produce different hash values and significantly harder to crack. 59. Shadow IT. The use of unauthorized software, services, or hardware by employees without the knowledge or approval of the IT or security department. 60. Privileged access. Elevated permissions granted to specific users that allow them to make system-wide changes or access highly sensitive data. 61. Steganography. The practice of hiding secret data inside ordinary, non-secret files such as images or audio to avoid detection. 62. Buffer overflow. A vulnerability that occurs when a program writes more data to a buffer than it can hold, potentially allowing an attacker to execute malicious code. 63. Deception technology. Security tools that deploy fake assets and decoy environments to lure attackers, study their behavior, and expose active threats. 64. Physical security controls. Tangible safeguards designed to protect facilities, hardware, and personnel from unauthorized physical access, including locks, badges, and surveillance cameras. 65. Threat intelligence. Information about current and emerging cyber threats collected and analyzed to help organizations proactively strengthen their defenses. 66. Network segmentation. The practice of dividing a network into isolated zones to limit the spread of attacks and control access to sensitive systems. 67. CM. Security information and event management. A platform that collects and correlates security event data from multiple sources to detect and respond to threats in real time. 68. Data loss prevention, DLP. Tools and policies that prevent sensitive data from being accessed, shared, or transmitted outside an organization without authorization. 69. UEBA, User and Entity Behavior Analytics, technology that applies machine learning to detect unusual patterns in user and system behavior that may indicate a threat. 70. Advanced Persistent Threat, APT, a sophisticated, long-term attack where an adversary maintains prolonged, undetected access to a network to steal data or cause damage. 71. Malware Analysis, the process of examining malicious software to understand how it works, what it does, and how to defend against it. 72. Red Team, a group of security professionals who simulate real-world attacks against an organization's systems to identify weaknesses in its defenses. 73. Blue Team, the internal security team responsible for defending systems, monitoring for threats, and responding to attacks. 74. White Hat, an ethical hacker who uses their skills with permission to help organizations identify and fix security vulnerabilities. 75. Black Hat, a hacker who exploits vulnerabilities for personal gain, financial profit, or malicious purposes without authorization. 76. Gray Hat, a hacker who may operate without formal permission but without malicious intent, often exposing vulnerabilities to prompt organizations to fix them. 77. Rootkit, malware that embeds itself deep within an operating system to conceal its presence and provide attackers with persistent, privileged access. 78. Drive-by download, malware that is silently and automatically downloaded onto a device when a user visits a compromised or malicious website. 79. Server-side request forgery, SSRF, an attack that tricks a server into making requests to unintended internal or external resources, potentially exposing sensitive data. 80. Cross-site request forgery, CSRF, an attack that tricks an authenticated user into unknowingly submitting malicious requests to a web application they are logged into. 81. Security token, a hardware device or software application used during authentication to prove a user's identity as part of a multi-factor process. 82. Public key, a cryptographic key that can be shared openly and is used to encrypt data that can only be decrypted with the matching private key. 83. Private key, a cryptographic key that must be kept secret and is used to decrypt data that was encrypted with its corresponding public key. 84. AES, Advanced Encryption Standard, a symmetric encryption standard widely used by governments and organizations worldwide to protect sensitive data. 85. MD5, Message Digest Algorithm 5, a hashing algorithm used to verify data integrity, now considered cryptographically weak and unsuitable for security-sensitive applications. 86. SHA Secure Hash Algorithm, a family of cryptographic hash functions used to ensure data integrity by generating a unique fixed-length hash from input data. 87. HTTPS Hypertext Transfer Protocol Secure, a secure version of HTTP that uses TLS encryption to protect data transmitted between a browser and a web server. 88. TLS, Transport Layer Security, a cryptographic protocol that provides secure, encrypted communication between applications over a network. 89. SSSL, Secure Sockets Layer, an older encryption protocol for securing internet communications that has been deprecated and replaced by TLS. 90. Certificate Authority, CA, a trusted organization that issues digital certificates to verify the identity of websites, users, and devices. 91. Security policy, a formal set of rules and guidelines that defines how an organization protects its information assets and manages security risks. 92. Firewall, a network security device or software that monitors and controls incoming and outgoing traffic based on predefined security rules. 93. Intrusion Detection System, IDS, a security tool that monitors network traffic and system activity for suspicious patterns and generates alerts for potential threats. 94. Intrusion Prevention System, IPS, a security system that detects and automatically blocks suspicious activity in real time before it can cause damage. 95. Cloud security, the set of controls, technologies, and policies used to protect data, applications, and infrastructure hosted in cloud environments. 96. Virtualization, the creation of virtual versions of physical resources such as servers or operating systems to improve efficiency and security isolation. 97. Configuration management, the practice of maintaining systems in a known, secure, and consistent state by controlling and documenting changes to hardware and software. 98. Tokenization, the process of replacing sensitive data with non-sensitive placeholder tokens that can be used in transactions without exposing the actual underlying data. 99. Threat modeling, a structured process of identifying potential threats to a system and developing strategies to prevent or mitigate them. 100. Log monitoring, the ongoing process of reviewing and analyzing logs from systems and networks to detect signs of security incidents or policy violations.